All right, Troy Nehls was not going to let Merrick Garland and the rest of the Biden administration get away with how they have covered up the connections between Joe Biden and former government.
According to the human source, they hired Hunter Biden to, quote, protect us through his dad for all kinds of problems. Mr. Garland, does that concern you? Okay, it should. I got limited time. Remember, your sources are credible, trustworthy, honest, and valuable. Are you familiar with Victor Shokin?
The document that you're...
Who is Mr. Victor Shokin? So I got 3 minutes left.
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, Victor Shokin. Who is he?
I don't know. Do you want me to
Okay,
answer the first question?
he's the prosecutor, folks. He's the prosecutor that was, he oversees all the corruption in Ukraine. We know there's corruption over there. For the American people watching, after a few months after Hunter Biden joined the Burisma board, Victor Shokin was named Prosecutor General for Ukraine to target corruption. And one of his investigations was into Burisma. In this FD 1023 document, the human source clarified that Burisma's CEO, the man in charge of Burisma, said he has many text messages and recordings that show he was coerced to make such payment to ensure Victor Shokin was fired. Matter of fact, there were 17 of them. Mr. Garland, it's clear, Joe Biden wanted Shokin fired so he would stop looking into Burisma, where Hunter was on the board. Would you agree? All right, let's let the American people decide. Play the clip. Play the clip.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from
Pay attention, sir,
Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, what, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Mr. Attorney General, what you just saw there was Joe Biden in his arrogance and role as the vice president in this country saying if you don't fire Shokin, the United States isn't given the $1 billion loan. Why would Joe Biden say that as the vice president? Why would he say such a thing? Was it policy? Was it our policy at the time? Yes or no? It wasn't. I have documents here. Interagency Policy Committee dated October 15th.
Point of information, is the gentleman ever going to let the gentleman
I'm on my
answer a question?
time, pipe down. Saying Shokin had made significant reforms.
From Texas.
He's made significant reforms, Shokin did. Matter of fact, John Kerry says he was impressive. And you know, within a few months after Shokin was fired, they appoint a prosecutor that said, we're not going to look into Burisma anymore. Cancel that, forget it, we're not looking into Burisma. Boom, here comes the $1 million.
All right, let's get into this. Let's really talk about this. What is really going on here is this. There were very obvious links between Joe Biden when he was vice president and between a lot of corruption that was happening overseas, particularly countries that were using Hunter Biden to basically peddle favor with Joe Biden, okay? Now, Joe Biden, in this clip that you saw, admitted to himself that he got into whatever that business was between Burisma and the Ukraine leader and all of this other stuff. Now, this stuff is admitted, but yet and still, nothing ever really happened to Joe Biden. And nothing really ever happened to Joe Biden because Joe Biden was under the protection of the swamp, and the swamp includes Merrick Garland. This is exactly what is and was going on here. And for me, as somebody who follows this stuff, as somebody who watches this stuff, as somebody who comments about a lot of this stuff, what has been so deeply unfortunate for me to see is the fact that the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, number one, they've seen their majority shrink, and number two, they never really did anything about all of this stuff besides, you know, yelling at a couple of people, besides having a couple little viral moments. Nothing ever happened, and you have to understand that that is a part of the political theater in the swamp, is that nothing ever happens, nobody is ever held accountable. No Democrats are ever held accountable because there's no way that Republicans will be involved in anything even close to this and not be held accountable.